After funding was stalled during the government shutdown, help is on the way for those struggling with energy costs.
During the shutdown, the Minnesota Valley Action Council was continuing to tape applications for their energy assistance programs, even though it was uncertain when that funding would finally be restored. MVAC expected it to be sometime before the funding would arrive, even after the shutdown ended. But this week, the organization was told that funding for the program should arrive before the end of November, just in time as the weather gets bitter cold.
That's pretty quick. Originally, we were anticipating anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks after the shutdown ended. This will be within the month that the shutdown ended, so remains to be seen. But Health and Human Services on the federal level is very optimistic that they'll have that money to the states by the end of the month.
MVAC says they've already received over 4,000 applications from residents in the Mankato area, and that some good news is more than welcome to those struggling with energy costs.
When you combine it with the fact that they were threatened with maybe not getting food support and other things like that, it's a big concern, because then people do end up having to start making choices. Do I pay my rent? Do I buy food? Do I pay for my energy? And so it's very stressful on those low-income households.
MVAC is still taking applications for energy assistance. For more information on how to apply, find this story at KEYC.com.